Did you know that you could actually get burned out doing something that you love? Did you know that? Usually, when you hear the word burnout, you think, oh, okay, I'm burnt out because I'm doing something I don't want to do. And that happens too, because it affects your emotions and it motivates you, and you become desensitized and you become disengaged because you don't really want to do it. But you also become burned out doing something that you love. And the reason why that usually happens is because you're not resting. You're not resting and you're not taking care of yourself. What do we need to do to just make sure we're staying in harmony and staying in balance? It's so important that we celebrate, not only rest, but that we celebrate our accomplishments. I think that we focus so much on what needs to be done, what there's still left to do, that we forget that we've actually done a lot and we've accomplished a lot. And celebration is something that needs to be done on purpose. I think that, especially as women, we think and we put other people first. I think sometimes we feel bad celebrating ourselves, but we really shouldn't, because it's healthy. It keeps us mentally healthy to actually stop and say, I'm going to do something to acknowledge what I've done. Celebrating your accomplishments is also another way to keep your mind focused on being successful. So there's a scripture in the Bible that says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. So what that means is that when you don't take the time to actually physically stop, acknowledge what you've done, and then do something as a result of it, or celebrate it, or reward yourself in some small way, then your brain does not register that as a true success. And so you're working without seeing any results. And that can burn you out, and that can also make you want to give up, because you're not focusing on your successes. You're focusing on the future. Well, I'll celebrate when I finish that thing, or I'll have a big party when I get to this point. Why not celebrate the fact that you met that deadline, the fact that you called those 5 people that you were supposed to call that week, the fact that you actually exercised every single day for 30 days, or you got out 3 times this week and went walking. Why not celebrate that in a small way so that you can acknowledge it? And what that does is that creates a can-do mindset. It creates a I am successful mindset. Every time you acknowledge what you've done, you're reinforcing the fact that you are successful. No, you may not have reached those big goals yet, but every small success is moving you closer to reaching that big goal. And so when you acknowledge it, you reinforce in your mind, you are a successful person. You are getting things done. Did you know that every time you celebrate your success or you acknowledge your accomplishments, you're actually releasing dopamine in your brain? Okay, yeah. What is dopamine, Lori? Dopamine is what's called the feel-good chemical in your brain. And it's where our brain acknowledges reward and pleasure. It regulates our movement. It regulates our emotional response to something. So not only do you, when dopamine increases, not only are you able to see what you need to do, but you have the drive to move towards it. It's that, you know how when you're working with little kids, and if you've ever worked with children, or you've seen this, maybe you've seen it, maybe you've never worked with children, but you've seen kids working really hard on something, and when they get it done, what do they usually say? I did it! I did it! Or you'll hear the adult or the person that's helping them say, you did it! that I did it feeling, that's dopamine. That's that drive that reinforces you, and it keeps you that motivated to want to keep going. It's that ability to really focus, and it's a positive reinforcement. So the more you're successful, the more you want to be successful, and then the more you are successful. So it becomes this cycle that just reinforces itself. You know, you notice that people work out, people who exercise, they're usually very energetic. Well, that's not by accident. Or people that eat healthy, that eat a lot of living foods, they seem to have higher energy levels. They seem to be really like mentally just focused and concentrated. That's not an accident. It's because they have dopamine operating more in their system. So celebrating your accomplishments and celebrating your success is not some pie in the sky, just loosey-goosey idea. There is research to support what happens when you honor yourself, when you honor what you've done, when you take the time to say, you did a good job. Or you can even celebrate the fact that you didn't have a meltdown. Okay, let's say you're working to try to get your emotional self together. You could actually, and you had a good week, and even though people were triggering you or situations were triggering you, you didn't respond. You responded in the way that was healthy, in a way that was productive. You can celebrate that. You can say, you know what? I did it. Again, that word, I did it. I did it. I actually responded in a way that's positive, in a way that kept me in a positive flow and a positive energy, and didn't bring negativity into my life and into my world. Celebrate that, because guess what? Again, dopamine. The more you celebrate that, the more you acknowledge that, your body is going to be like, okay, thank you. Now I'm going to motivate you to do better, to increase, and to do more. I decided I want to go out and see the movie Avengers. Now, anybody knows me, I am like a straight up Marvel girl. Afterwards, I was feeling really good because, again, I the more you reward yourself, the more you give yourself positive reinforcement, the more positive you feel. So I went out and I bought myself 2 pairs of shoes. Now, I haven't bought myself anything since the beginning of the year. I've just been in grind mode from January 1st to now. I've just been doing different things and trying to get some things accomplished. And so I needed that time. I started to feel in my body that I needed to pull away. And so I went out and bought myself these. Can you see them? Aren't they cute? They're so cute. And I'm not a big like sneaker person. I have like a pair, the last pair of sneakers that I bought. They're probably like, I'm laughing because they're probably like 10 years old. They're a hot mess. I'm just not a sneaker person. But these are so cute. And when I saw them, I got happy. Right? So I purchased them, and that was this shoe here is my way of saying, you did it, Lori. You met a milestone. There's a benefit to celebrating your accomplishments. I shared with you what I did. I shared with you how I celebrated my success. That also is very helpful. You want to be able to not only celebrate yourself, but you want to share what you've done. You want to share your accomplishments with your friends, with your family. You guys are my friends. You guys come and tune in every single week faithfully. So I wanted to share with you that I met a milestone. I met an accomplishment, and I celebrated it by rewarding myself with a movie and some shoes. Well, 2 pairs of shoes. So how do you do that? How do you celebrate your accomplishments? Do you celebrate your accomplishments? Are you the kind of person that just says, I don't have time for that? Or I'll celebrate it when I'm done, like completely finished. Are you that kind of person? I used to be that kind of person. If you're like that, it leads to burnout, because even if you love something, if you don't rest your body, if you don't celebrate your small successes, eventually you'll become discouraged, because everything around you is saying you haven't accomplished anything. And if you keep focusing on that all the time, then it affects your psyche, it affects you mentally, and you start to say to yourself, you know what? Why am I doing this? It's not working. I'm not getting anywhere. Why don't I just stop? And that also creates inconsistency, because what happens is you stop doing that, you start doing something else, you follow the same pattern, then you get discouraged, you stop doing that, you start doing something else. So then you're inconsistent. And a person that's inconsistent, is unstable, will not see any lasting long-term success, and they will not reach any long-term goals, because just when you start building momentum, you stop. So celebrating your successes gives you the ability to see not only the long term, but the short term, to say, you know what, I'm doing okay. Even if no one else is saying it, I'll say it. I'm doing okay. Looking back to see how far you've come, that's another way to celebrate your successes. I'll keep it really easy. If you set a goal of, I want to set a goal of eating, one healthy meal a day, or I want to set a goal of eating a salad a day. And let's say you've done that for a week. Now, for some people, that might not seem like anything. I mean, especially if they're like a vegan or whatever. But if that's something big for you, celebrate that. Honor that. Acknowledge it. Share it with a friend. Call a friend and say, girl, guess what? I just did 7 days of eating one healthy meal a day. I can't believe I did it. And then when that person feeds you and says, oh, wow, that's awesome. And that person's going to be like, you did. That's awesome. Again, dopamine. You start to feel energized and feel motivated. You think, well, if I could eat a salad a day, maybe I could eat a healthy breakfast, or maybe I can start walking. You start to increase your ability to want to do more, and you get to your goals faster. So it's really important to celebrate your accomplishments, celebrate your successes, no matter how small they are, and to acknowledge your achievements and to rest your body. Because even if you love something, if you don't create harmony, you can get sick of it. You could just be burnt out and say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. So you want to keep that healthy balance. You want to think about yourself.